So the Quartering is doing a live stream with Steven Crowder right now, and they're revealing a lot of big things about Steven Crowder's future. Steven Crowder has dropped a few bombshells on this interview. The interview is actually over now. The Quartering is still live, so you'll see the chat moving through. But the interview is over, and Steven Crowder did say a lot of very interesting things about the future of himself on Rumble, the future of Steven Crowder's show on YouTube, and also just the future of YouTube and the future of Rumble. And I thought it was really interesting. He also dropped a couple things on Twitter that we'll go over. Just very exciting things for the future of Steven Crowder. And the Quartering also said some interesting things as well. I know a lot of people out there don't really care about what the Quartering has to say, but Steven Crowder said a lot of very interesting things, and the Quartering dropped a few bombshells as well. Let's check this out.
And we can go through kind of all the new programming that we're adding. People can go to letitcredit.com/mugclub. But the big thing I'm excited about is, we really are on the cusp, or maybe we've kind of hit the tipping point of having a viable alternative to YouTube, where people can actually not just do a mirror channel, but potentially grow on another platform, right? That's kind of the difference that we've always struggled with is, okay, we have a mirror channel for safety, but then how do we grow if we're ever suspended or permanently removed from YouTube? Rumble's getting there. I mean, they still need to fix some things. Nothing's perfect, but that's exciting to me.
Yeah, that's like even when we talked about that, it's like, I mean, I had a lot of solidarity subs on Rumble who are like, okay, well, if he gets banned, I'm over there, right? But once you made your announcement, so I had like 80, 90,000 subscribers before you joined, and then once you joined, I picked up like another 20,000. And like they were, and then my views, people started actually using it more instead of just being like, okay, I subscribed to him because I support alt tech or new.
That is actually pretty crazy. How much of a tipping it was whenever Steven Crowder, and don't get it twisted, there's other people joining Rumble as well, similar to Steven Crowder, people like Andrew Tate or people like Steve Will Do It, other big names, like even people like Fresh and Fit. Whenever someone who's a big authority figure in a certain space goes from YouTube to Rumble, even if it's not exclusive, they still do some exclusive content over there. And a lot of people who I just named, they're not even allowed on YouTube anymore, so they'll do only Rumble content. And when people like Steven Crowder and others start going over to Rumble, it will boost everybody else in that space, because once Steven Crowder's fans start only consuming or primarily consuming Rumble content from Steven Crowder, it will also go the other way as well, or trickle down. It'll have the little trickle down effect where Steven Crowder's at the top, and whenever people watch his content, they'll leave his content when it's over, and they'll get recommended videos from people who are similar to Steven Crowder, like the Quartering, like maybe even myself. Whenever I get my Rumble following, whenever I get my Rumble viewership up a little bit, who knows? But it's definitely a big trickle-down effect. It definitely boosts the viewer base overall of Rumble, and it's just very healthy, not just for Rumble, but the overall landscape of these video websites, because we do need a competitor to YouTube. They'll talk about that a little bit later on, how YouTube, with Susan leaving now, is even worse than it used to be before. So we definitely, desperately need a competitor to YouTube, and Steven Crowder leaving YouTube, and other people like Steven Crowder leaving YouTube to go to Rumble, primarily, is a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's here's the thing. The beauty is I'm not really scared of it anymore. I'm not looking to get suspended from YouTube. I know you aren't either, but I've always said this, right? You reach new people, but you can't reach new people at the cost of truth. So if you get to the point where you can't discuss, the mRNA injections, if you get to the point where you can't discuss anything related to elections, if you get to the point where you can't discuss, we know down the line, anything related to, let's say, puberty blockers with children, whatever it is, or January 6th at one point, we were suspended for what are new revelations right now. I mean, we were covering this within the month, and we did a whole stream, I believe about a year ago, talking about how the QAnon shaman was escorted. That footage was available.
It is very true, and even currently, there are still people getting their channels struck. I saw a few people have their videos and live streams taken down whenever this whole new January 6th stuff started coming out. So it is very true. You do reach a lot of new people on YouTube, but at a certain point, whenever your channel gets to a certain size, you will get censored. Whenever you start getting millions of views on every single video that you post, and you're going against the narrative that YouTube and other big tech corporations like to go against. If you're not going like in favor of the Google, narrative that they want to spew, then they're going to censor you. They're going to demonetize you, which is going to take a lot of views away. I mean, Steven Crowder talked about that in a different video on a different interview, how whenever they were demonetized, their views got cut into like a third of what they used to be. And then they accidentally remonetized them for like 3 months, and their views went absolutely crazy again. and then they got demonetized again, and their views got cut in a third once again. So they will demonetize you, they will censor you, they will cut your views down where they can if you're going against the narrative. And at a certain point, at a certain channel size, you're just not going to fly under the radar anymore. Like as of right now, I'm not really having to censor myself. You know, I try to not say certain terms. I'll make up words so that you know what I'm talking about. But when it comes to getting my point across for certain topics, I'm able to get my point across without an issue. Like I'm not censoring myself in terms of not talking about certain things that need to be talked about. And I will never do that. You know, if I have to take the ban, I'll take the ban. But I know that I'm small enough right now where I can fly under the radar, actually speak my mind on things, actually be able to expose things that need to be exposed without getting banned. But you know, I know that when I get to a certain size, when I get to a certain point, like it most likely will happen where I'm just gonna have to take the ban, and it is what it is. That's when I'll move over to Rumble, so I move somewhere else, just like Steven Crowder is doing. Hopefully, I can be in a similar position to him. I mean, obviously that's the goal, but you know, as of now, I know that I'm able to say what I need to say without censoring myself completely.
Available, just not the security camera footage, and we were suspended for some of these things. If it gets to the point where you cannot discuss the truth, well, then you're just cutting yourself off at the knees. Why do that? And so we are going to use YouTube as long as it is a viable platform for truth. But once it no longer is, and if they choose to give us the old heave ho, well, hey, hopefully everybody is over there on Rumble. They know where to find us.
Yeah, it's really growing fast.
We all benefit. The problem is you can't have a model with independent content creators that's kind of like traditional cable, where not all of them want to be employees. And we have some people who've come to us who will be employees, by the way. We say, you know what, we don't want to deal with subscriptions. Great. And then we have people who say, hey, you know what, we just want to do a split. We just want to do a revenue split where we're under the umbrella, so we get some protection, we get some assistance with production, and we have the ability to do that. And Rumble is also an umbrella that allows us to do that. Think about this. Mug Club can be effectively the largest conservative network within 1 year, let's say 2 years, right? And that basically is under the umbrella of Rumble, which is also a free platform. This is the first time something like that can happen. There's really no other place where that was an option. So partnering with them.
It's true, because even if Steven Crowder had like the most YouTube memberships or like the biggest email list, even if your email is like, if you're sending people emails through Google, or you're using YouTube memberships, which is under Google, you can only do what's in the confines of what Google will let you do. But whenever your entire network is under Rumble, which makes their name is literally, you know, the only reason why they're so successful is because they're pushing the free speech stuff so hard. Because even Steven Crowder said it earlier in this video, in this interview, there are still a lot of issues with Rumble. There's a lot of issues with their UI. I know that Android people have big issues. There's things where you can't send in super chats on mobile devices or something like that, or whatever they're called, Rumble rants on mobile devices. There's a lot of issues still with Rumble. But the big reason why Rumble is building their name is because they're letting people like Steven Crowder, like Andrew Tate, like Steve will do it, other people go on there and just say what they want to say. As long as it doesn't, you know, obviously you can't like show nudity and things like that. But whenever it comes to exposing the truths of the world, there's no narrative that Rumble wants to represent. And it goes both ways as well. Like, people who are conservatives, people who are on the right, are mainly going over there right now because that's who's being censored on other platforms. But they're not going to censor people on the left either. If leftists want to go on here, if people who aren't conservatives want to go on Rumble and say what they want to say, expose what they believe to be the truth, Rumble's not going to stop them either, as long as they're not showing nudity or violence or anything like that. Rumble won't stop them either. It's really good for the landscape. It's really good to have YouTube have some competition. And it's really good to see Steven Crowder go on here. And it seems like he's really excited, man. It seems like he's really happy and excited for the future. He also tweeted out this clip, which was from the interview, which I will link the full interview in the description, by the way. Go support the actual interview. I know that we've had our issues or whatever, but it was a good interview. Go check it out. Here is a big clip that a lot of people are very happy about, that I know that most Mug Club members will be very happy about. Let's check this one out.
I'll be coming the first week. Dave's obviously going to be here. We will be, people like Callan, people like DePaulo, people like Jim Brewer, the Hodge twins, will be bringing in also in third chair depending on the day. So that used to kind of rotate sometimes because, Dave's this brilliant road comic, and I can't recommend people go watch him enough. And sometimes it would kind of be last minute, like, on a Thursday we have to bring someone in. So that's going to be rotating to, get some other people over as well, with Dave, of course, being in there, as kind of a staple. I'll be coming.
So I know a lot of people loved Dave on Steven Crowder's shows, and a lot of people were asking if Dave will be back. He confirms there that Dave will be back, and you can see in the replies, everybody's extremely happy. Excellent interview and excellent news. So glad Dave will be back along with the crew. This person says, yes, we love the dynamic comedian duo of Dave and Steven Crowder. And yeah, everybody's just saying how much they're happy for Dave coming back. So it was a really good interview. Really good interview by the Quartering. I know that, like I said, we've had our differences, but can't deny it, man. You did a good job on that interview. Go check out the full interview. The link will be in the description. And let me know what you guys think about Steven Crowder moving over to Rumble. What do you think about Steven Crowder and all the stuff that he said in this interview? Let me know what you guys think about the entire situation.